Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Tech Bandit, and welcome back to this reading of The Sparkle in His Eye by Tatsuro. Veldin, Milestones. Ratchet smiled as he looked up from his mechanic's work as Twilight awoke crying. "Well, it looks like my sound filtering headphones work," he said, turning towards the little filly. "Now, it's time to try my other new invention." Walking over, he scooped Twilight up in his arms. Twilight looked up at him with a frown. Her magic aura seized the headphones off his head and hurled them across the room, where they shattered before she started bawling again, gesturing to the soggy diaper hanging from her hindquarters. Ratchet winced. "Need to work a bit on structural integrity, though," he said, carrying her over to the device he'd been working on. "Time to test this." Twilight took in the device somewhat nervously. In the center was a large circular brace, surrounded by several folded metal arms, with various tools attached to them, a large linen chest, and a wastebasket. Twilight obviously did not like the look of the device. "And there we go," Ratchet said, setting her in the brace. A padded balloon inside the brace inflated until it held Twilight gently but firmly with her diapered hindquarters underneath the brace. "Comfy?" he asked Twilight. Twilight wiggled around. The brace actually did hold her quite comfortably, but she plainly didn't like the device. "Don't worry, Twilight. It'll be over quickly," Ratchet reassured her, switching the device on. The arms began to move, and Twilight froze in fear. The first set of arms used laser cutters to remove her diaper efficiently without touching coat or skin. Another arm caught the soiled diaper as it fell with the waste bin, which released a gout of flame as the diaper was instantly incinerated. Other arms swooped in, gently and carefully wiping up any extra mess before applying baby powder to prevent rash. A last set of arms pulled out the new diaper from the linen chest and wrapped it around her to the mechanically precise comfortable fit. The arms then retracted, and the brace lowered until Twilight's hind hooves touched the floor. The balloon then deflated before the brace lifted up over Twilight, leaving her to brace herself once more on all fours before the machine shut down. "It works!" Ratchet said happily, pumping his fist into the air. "The Diapertron is a success! Now I can sell the design to Gadgetron and make enough money to cover quite a few of your expenses, Twilight. Isn't that wonderful?" Twilight looked up at the machine, then down at her diaper, then up at Ratchet. She made a sad-sounding inquiry. Ratchet kneeled down. "What's wrong, Twilight?" he asked, resting his hands on her shoulders. She shifted her body so his hand was on her diaper. "What? Is the machine not a personal enough touch?" Twilight nodded vigorously. Ratchet blinked. "Well, your grasp of language is certainly more advanced than I expected," he commented as he rubbed his chin. Twilight happily pointed to the hollow books. He chuckled. "Well, you are an avid reader." He sat back, looking at his machine. "Maybe I should add a voice chip to the Diapertron Mark II, programmed to pick from a selection of soothing statements to say during changing, so that it feels more personal to the infant." He started to make a note of that. Twilight made a sad bleating noise, butting his hand with her head as she put his legs between her and the machine. Ratchet looked down at this. "Don't like the machine at all, huh?" Twilight shook her head, nudging Ratchet's hand again. Ratchet shook his head. "No, Twilight. The whole point of this was so that I didn't have to change your diaper by hand. More sanitary this way." When Twilight pouted at him, he sighed. "No, Twilight. I'm not budging on this." Her lip began to quiver. "All right," he caved. "Tell you what. When you can handle your toilet-related issues without a diaper, then you don't have to use the Diapertron anymore. How's that sound?" Twilight's horn promptly glowed, and her diaper shredded itself. Ratchet blinked. I'm going to head to town to get a few things for you. If you make a mess while I'm gone, I expect you to clean it up." Twilight squeaked happily as she trotted over to one of the hollow books. Sighing, Ratchet grabbed his bolt card and headed to town. When Ratchet returned, his arms full of grocery bags, he found Twilight on the front lawn, doing her business in a divot she had dug with her forehooves. "Twilight, that's not what I meant!" As soon as Twilight finished her business, she wiped herself with a levitated piece of toilet paper and dropped it into the divot, then turned to face it. Her horn glowed, and a bolt of lightning struck from her horn to the divot, incinerating the contents and leaving a sweet-smelling pile of ash behind. Ratchet stared at what had happened as Twilight headed back to the shed they called home. "Not quite what I meant, but I won't complain about her toilet training herself," he said with a shrug. He then walked in, setting the bags down. "Well, I got some bottles of milk, a masher to turn local vegetables into baby food for you, and a special surprise for you." He turned around, then frowned. "Hey, that's my wrench!" Twilight was curled up on the pile of hollow books, hugging Ratchet's Omni-wrench to her. At Ratchet's complaint, she turned, holding it closer to her and sucking on one side of the wrench head. "Hey!" Ratchet complained again. Rushing forward, he grabbed the handle and gave a tug. "Mine!" Twilight complained, clutching the wrench with her full hose of magic. "Mine!" Ratchet said again, tugging. Twilight mewed, tugging back. "Mine! Mine! Get your own!" Ratchet growled, tugging harder on the wrench. Twilight blinked, then made a happy squeal. Her horn flashed brightly. Ratchet fell back, his Omni-wrench clutched in his hand. Twilight tumbled backwards off the pile of hollow books, clutching an identical Omni-wrench. "Twilight, you okay?" Ratchet asked in concern, rushing over to her. She held up the second Omni-wrench happily, looking up at him for approval. Ratchet held his wrench up to the duplicate, comparing it in every detail. Seeing that they were completely identical, he realized they needed some way to tell them apart. An idea struck him. He held up his. "Mine," he said. Reaching into a drawer, he quickly made a decal in the design of the mark on Twilight's rear, the purple and white star surrounded by 5 small white stars. He stuck the decal to the head of Twilight's wrench. "Yours," he said firmly. Twilight squealed happily, hugging him while she gripped the wrench in a purple glow that matched the glow of her horn. "Huh," Ratchet said as he returned the hug. "Didn't know you could manipulate objects like that without blowing them up," he grinned. "So, want to see your surprise?" "Yay!" Twilight squeaked happily, bouncing around him in a circle. "Yay, yay, 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 yay!" Ratchet chuckled, reaching into one of the bags. "Well, you know how you really like those Captain Quark stories?" Twilight nodded her head vigorously. "Well, ta-da!" Ratchet pulled an official Captain Quark plushie out of the bag, the perfect size for Twilight to cuddle at night. Twilight squealed, even happier, yanking the plushie to her in more of her purple energy before snuggling it. "You're welcome," Ratchet chuckled, petting her head. To his surprise, she released the plushie to leap upward and hug him around the neck. "Taku dada!" she said, nuzzling him. He couldn't help but smile as he hugged her back. "Happy to do it, Twi," he said. Twilight then hopped down and grabbed a hollow book before beginning to read to Quark in her baby talk. Ratchet smiled rather goofily. She called me Dada." Oh, the foreshadowing in that one is thick as it comes. Anyway, it's interesting to see this because it is something we don't see in the Ratchet and Clank games very often, is that Ratchet is a good inventor. He is a very talented mechanic. I mean, we see it a little in the beginning of the first game. I mean, he built his own ship. but we never really see him get to expand upon that, which is kind of a shame considering when you actually look into the rest of the story. But that's another story for another day. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. I know it's a little quicker than my other works. Again, this is a really long story, and there's no way in blazes I'd be able to get through it in a reasonable time. I mean, if I literally did 5 a week, I'd be looking at just under a year to get the entire story done. Obviously, that's a really long time to commit to any string of uploads. So, we're probably going to do this in bursts. I'll probably do, again, it's 5 a week. I might double down if I ever have, like, a big opening where I don't want to start a new story, like for keeping up on a major event, or I know summer's rolling in, which unfortunately kills my free time. So, we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, folks, my name's Tech Bandit. I wish you all good luck, good hunting, and safe travels. I'll see you in the next one, my Benditos.